So welcome to Presence Practice. And today I want to explore crises. And I recognize that looking at life, it's not uncommon to have crises, whether they're big or small. And aware that they come out of the blue, of course, it's usually not something we're expecting. We get the text or we get the phone call, we get the lab report or whatever it may be, and suddenly the world is different than it was just a little bit before. So what I'm going to talk about in our session today, it's most helpful to think in terms of those big crises, but just to recognize that everything I'm saying is also applicable to the everyday little things that kind of seem to dump us on our head. Yeah, I'm thinking of the car's broken, or the heat's not working, or whatever it may be. So this came up because I was listening to a teacher, and she was speaking about crises. And then she shared that in the Chinese language, I'm not sure which one, but when they write the word crises, it has two characters to it. And one character is the character for danger. And the second character is the character for opportunity. And that just landed in me very powerfully as she said that. And I'm aware that we as humans, this is normal, this is the way we're built. We are built to respond to the danger and to react quickly to the danger of the situation. And we may react in various ways depending on what the crisis is. But just to recognize that in some form, there is a rejection of the moment or the way things are now. In that reactivity to the danger, again, it's not to say there's anything wrong with it, it's just something that we observe. And what we usually do is go into some sort of space in which to change the situation. So what's coming to mind to me right now is, you have a bear encounter. It's an immediate crisis, and the thing to do is to do the things that will help you be the safest. And to change the moment from being face to face with the bear to, I've gone back to regular life where the bear is going about its business, and I'm back on the trail, or I'm back on my hike, and I'm not threatened anymore. The problem is, of course, is that we kind of carry that reactivity through life and beyond the actual moment of crises, and tend to only view it in that danger, or from that danger mode. And we forget that there's any opportunity in the crises that we have. So Mark and I have been experiencing a crisis, a family crisis, in which a close family member had a and urgent, had a mental health breakdown and very serious and involved hospitalization. And so I notice how each family member responds and reacts to that crisis. And we all go into our ways of being with that crisis. And Mark and I are pretty good at figuring it out, figuring out the steps, getting the information, um, being grounded, staying calm, etc. And we handled it well. However, I recognize that in that crisis place, my awareness tends to narrow down into sort of a narrow focus of the situation. I mean, I can literally feel myself. If there's a 180 viewpoint of things that can encompass everything in front of my eyes and what I can take in, it narrows down to this, 10 or 15%. And I leave out what else is there. And I believe that is where the opportunity lives, in this 160 degrees that I'm not aware of because I am focused. So that's how what all of this has to do with presence practice. That as we practice surrendered presence in these moments of crises, big and small, we can feel ourselves present. We can feel what's happening in our bodies in the situation. And we can resist the old pattern of just narrowing down into our usual ways of handling whatever comes. It doesn't mean that we may handle the situation in exactly the same way, but we will probably do it from a much broader and more open stance and sense. So as we go into our practice today, I'm going to encourage you, well, I guess we'll do this before we start. I'm going to encourage you to think about a recent crisis and to allow love, spirit, God to maybe let one rise up in you that would be the most helpful for you to practice with. So we want that crisis to be present here with us. So it's a memory, but we can also feel in our beings sort of a reliving of the moments of the crisis. And then as we practice, it's just sort of an experiment to see how we might be different in the moments of crisis, if we can really tap in to the 4 stages of surrendered presence in the midst of what is happening. So, holding that experience of crisis, I invite you to drop into your own experience. And then to draw your awareness to your physical being. and to notice what your body is like without judgment, without trying to change anything. Just noticing what arises in the physical being when there are those moments of challenge, crisis. Most of us tend to have a certain part of our body that comes online strongly in those moments: chest, throat, solar plexus. So feeling the ones that draw your attention strongly, but then just being curious about the rest of your body. Maybe you'll find a part of yourself that actually feels grounded. Now drawing your awareness when we keep our awareness with the body, but also now begin to include our inner experience, our emotions, our feelings, what happens in our heart or our spirit. And then, of course, thoughts, allowing the thoughts about the situation to come in, but not allowing them to overwhelm all the other inner experience. And again, you might notice parts of your inner experience that are maybe reactive or even a little frantic. And then look and see if there are parts that are grounded, knowing, clear even. And now we also begin to include the space around us, so that we're not just having an experience of me or I, but we are locating ourselves in the world. So we begin with the room we're in. And we just sense what is present in this immediate environment. Feeling free to open your eyes and include the sights. And then going on beyond your four walls, extending your awareness out into the world, but also staying connected with that sense of self in the world. And as you do that, bringing back in this remembrance, this imagining the crisis. And just noticing in your own experience what you might draw on, draw support from being in the world, being on the earth. And so now feeling your feet on the ground. And feeling the way that you're being acted upon by gravity. The way the earth draws you into itself. Recognizing that it seems subtle because we're not used to paying attention to how that feels. But it's also very powerful. To recognize that the earth grounds us. And to allow that grounding. To give ourselves to being held by the earth. And again, remembering the crisis situation, seeing how or if it shifts as the earth grounds you. And then also remembering the presence of love here. Presence of love in the same way that air is present. That we are in air, we are in love. That love is also holding us in the same way that gravity does. And that it's powerful. And then drawing your attention to your breath and just observing as the breath comes in, filling the chest, and then flows back out again. Including all the things we've done in the practice up to this point. Aware of your experience, feeling yourself held. Now also allowing yourself to experience the letting go of the breath, the release. And when you're ready, just allowing that release, the surrender of the breath, the letting go, to carry you so gently and easily into complete surrender. So that there's no focus any longer. There's not even any need to keep track of your awareness. You're just carried completely into love, where all can simply be as it is. Where all can simply be as it is. And if you get caught up in thought, simply returning to the breath, allowing the breath to carry you back into complete surrender. And then considering the possibility of setting an intention here for the next time the crisis, the danger, and the opportunity arise. Just setting the intention in your mind and in your being that you'll remember to practice surrendered presence and to also ask that we might experience the opportunity in the crisis. I thank you so much for practicing with me and supporting my own practice. And I will see you next time. Love to you all.